All right, let's get into a story that honestly sounds like it's straight out of a movie. It's about genius, absolute despair, and a fortune that was almost never made. Today, we're talking about the incredible life of Albert Thorwaltzon, one of the 19th century's biggest sculptors whose road to fame was, well, anything but a straight line.
You know, this quote really gets to the heart of the art world back then. The reigning champion was this guy Antonio Canova, a technical master. But this quote sets up our guy, Thorwaltzon, as something totally different. He wasn't about perfection. He had this raw, enchanting power that just pulled you in.
So where did this incredible talent come from? Well, his story kicks off in about the most dramatic way you could possibly imagine. No, you heard that right. Born at sea. His dad was an Icelandic woodcarver, and from the moment he was born, Albert's life was all about the craft. Before he was sculpting fine art, he was just a kid, helping his father carve these huge wooden figureheads for ships. His first tool wasn't a toy, it was a chisel. And it became pretty clear pretty fast that he was something special. I mean, look at this timeline of his early career. He gets into the Copenhagen Academy and just starts cleaning up, winning medal after medal. Finally, he snags the grand prize, a pension to go to Rome, the center of the art universe, to study with the masters. It really looked like his future was set. But Rome wasn't the dream he thought it would be. Instead of finding inspiration, he found complete and utter despair. The city became this pressure cooker that almost broke him.
Just try to imagine it. You're this hotshot young artist. You get to Rome and you're surrounded by the works of Michelangelo, Bernini, the all-time greats. For Thorwaltzon, that legacy was just crushing. He'd look at these ancient masterpieces, then look at his own statues, and just felt like a total failure.
And this wasn't just a little bit of self-doubt. We're talking about a violent physical rejection of his own talent. He didn't just tuck his early statues away, he grabbed a hammer and smashed them into pieces because he thought they were worthless. His studio was literally filled with the rubble of his own broken dreams.
So here's where it gets really bad. 3 years have gone by, the money from his pension is all gone, he's broke, he's a nobody, and he is completely defeated. He actually packed up his things and booked passage on his ship back to Denmark, totally ready to give up on art forever. But right at this moment, a really important part of art history comes into play: the patron. See, for centuries, artists didn't just sell their work in galleries. Their entire survival depended on wealthy people who believed in them and were willing to fund their work. And on the exact day Thorwaltzon was supposed to leave Rome for good, a rich English art collector named Mr. Hope just happened to wander into his studio. He saw a clay statue of the hero Jason that Thorwaltzon had just finished. Hope was so blown away by it, he commissioned a full marble version on the spot. And with that one chance encounter, Thorwaldson's entire life was turned around. He was saved. And with that single commission, everything, and I mean everything, changed. The floodgates just burst open. The years of struggle were over, and an era of unbelievable triumph and fame began. He shot up in the art world and became the great rival to Canova, who was the undisputed king of sculpture at the time. But people saw them very differently. Canova was the polished master, technically perfect, maybe even a little too perfect. Thorwaltzon was seen as this soulful poet from the cold north, whose work had this raw emotional power that just captivated everyone.
His fame just exploded. Suddenly, commissions were flying in from all over Europe. I mean, just look at this list of his greatest hits: the incredibly moving Lion of Lucerne in Switzerland, tombs for popes in Rome, and the massive Christ and the Apostles back in his home city of Copenhagen. He was basically defining the look of an entire generation.
But the amazing thing is, all that success never seemed to go to his head. This quote right here tells you everything you need to know about his character. The King of Prussia offered him a huge commission, but Thorwaltzon knew another sculptor in Rome was really struggling for money, so he turned the king down. He actually told him to hire his rival instead. What an incredible act of generosity. And that brings us to the final act of his life, a journey that brings his story full circle, right back to where it all started. 42. Just let that number sink in. That's how many years Albert Thorwaltzon was away from his home country of Denmark. He left as a broke student full of potential, and now he was coming back as one of the most famous artists on the planet. And his return was, well, epic. The day his ship pulled into Copenhagen harbor was declared a national holiday. Unbelievable crowds turned out to welcome him home, not just as a great artist, but as a true national hero. He lived out his final 6 years in his beloved Copenhagen, and his end was very peaceful and very sudden.
One evening, he was at the theater and just passed away quietly in his seat. He was 74. It was kind of a perfect ending for a man so dedicated to his art that very same morning he'd been right where he belonged, in his studio, chisel in hand.
So, when we look back at his amazing life, it really makes you think, doesn't it? What's the thing that truly defines an artist's legacy? Is it the famous rivalry with Canova, the revolutionary new style he brought to sculpture? Or is it also found in those quiet moments, like the generosity he showed to a struggling peer, even when they were competitors? And just a reminder, this is for entertainment and educational purposes only.